But we got something very special for you now.
We have an amazing musician in the house. Came to visit us here tonight. We've got Anthony Esposito with us, a talented, very prolific musician who's also a producer and engineer, and he's currently playing as part of Ace Frehley's band. How are you doing there, Anthony?
Great. Anthony Esposito.
Let's have a great big hand for Anthony Esposito.
We finally got you on the show.
Good to be back on the island.
That's it.
Actually, I was adopted in Brooklyn, and then my parents quickly jumped over the bridge and moved to Richmond Town when I was like 1 and grew up there.
So I understand that you started playing bass at age 10.
Yeah, it was, I went to public school at IS-24 in Great Hills, and you had to choose as your elective was either theater, art, or music, and I definitely can't act, and I definitely can't draw a straight line. So I did music, and I had braces. And originally I wanted to play saxophone, and they told me I couldn't play any kind of brass or woodwind instrument because the braces would rip up the inside of my lip. So,
oh, yeah.
So they would force me into playing a stringed instrument. And being the guy, you know, I didn't want to play a little violin. I thought that was for girls. So I picked the biggest one, which was the upright bass.
Oh, huge upright bass for a little kid, right?
Oh, it was crazy because, you know, you would break for your Christmas break and you'd have to take your instruments home. And I remember my mom coming to pick me up at school and trying to get this big, huge double bass into the back of, like, you know, we had a car, you know, trying to fit that in. She's just like, why couldn't you play the flute? You know, it'd be so much easier if you could just carry it. But yeah, I started at IS-24. I was in the orchestra there, and had a really great music teacher at that school, and that sort of got me involved in the borough symphonies and stuff like that. I actually was a better musician when I was in the 6th grade than I am now. I could read music and play all symphonies and stuff, but you realize when you hit puberty that symphony orchestral musicians don't get women. so I remember for my confirmation I got my first bass guitar, and then it was all history after that.
How old were you when you started playing clubs, actually?
Clubs? I remember sneaking in, at the time it was 18 years old to drink. Yeah. And I remember I was like 15 sneaking into clubs.
That's how it was with us back then.
To play, yeah. I would play like the Intimate Lounge down in South Beach, and like, I mean, I was way underage drinking, and I would just sneak in and play. I remember, you know, doing all the old metal classic Judas Priest, Iron Maiden songs at the Intimate Lounge.
Park Villa?
Yeah, well, I used to do sound at the Park Villa later on. But it was a good time to grow up on Staten Island. There was a lot of music, and like the era before me, all those guys, the Tommy Prices and the Frankie LaRocca's and the Earl Slicks, all were on the island. And you'd go and see these guys play on Bay Street. You know, there was like 10 clubs in a span of 3 blocks. That was all original music. It was before all these bands started to do tributes of people wrote songs and went out and played their own songs instead of making a living on mimicking or parodying another band. You know, and I think it makes you better as a musician or a songwriter if you're exercising that, and you go see your friend's band play on a Tuesday night, and you're playing on a Wednesday night, and then Friday night, and you know, there's a different band every night to go see, and it was just a great scene. And now Bay Street, I don't think Bay Street ever recovered from when the Navy came in.
Not at all.
The Navy sort of killed it, and all those clubs closed up, and there's no scene there anymore. There's nobody plays guitar anymore on Staten Island. It's like it was such a. I mean, I remember going to see bands and just getting completely inspired to get better and to learn how to play, and I just don't see that now.
It was known as...
I caught the tail end of it back then. That's all right. I caught the tail end of it back then. Early 80s into the late 80s. After Paramount Theater, St. George Theater, the Red Spot,
the Red
SRO,
Spot.
you know, and then it just went downhill.
Yeah.
One by one, the clubs just went out of
business. The Navy
business.
sort of came in, and it was supposed to generate growth in that area, and all it really did was the Navy pulled out, and it just created a black hole there. It never came back, and it's kind of sad.
So from the American Liverpool to kind of a void now.
Yeah, it's a void.
So it made you go off to start your own band, right? You put together the Lynch Mob in 1988?
Yes.
Well, I didn't put it together. It was two of the guys. There was a tour in the end of the 80s called the Monsters of Rock Tour, and it was Van Halen.
Bon Jovi, was that all that?
No, it was good bands.
Scorpions? No, I know that. Bon Jovi.
It was Van Halen, it was Dokken, it was Metallica, it was the Scorpions.
Scorpions, yeah.
And it was Kingdom Come was the first band on.
Oh, wow.
And two of the guys from Dokken broke up Dokken split up after the Monsters of Rock tour, and George Lynch and Mick Brown, the drummer, started Lynch Mob. And they found our singer from this other band. They stole him from this band in LA, and then I was the last one to join. And then we released this record called Wicked Sensation, which I'm still very proud of to this day. I think it's a great record. And it's probably one of my favorite things that I've ever played on. We toured with Cinderella and Ozzy, and we even went out with Warrant at the time, you know. But we did 5 years of touring. It was pretty good.
When did that band break up?
I quit, I think it was November of '93.
All right.
My bass tech, Phil, is here today, and I remember the day, it was the day before Thanksgiving. We were sitting in an airport, and I turned to him, and I'm like, I'm out of here.
And that's Phil Dilley, right?
Yeah.
He's a Staten Island legend. He actually gave me this connection with Anthony. That's how I got to meet him. What's up, Phil?
He was my bass tech at the time.
You're welcome, buddy. Phil's going to be on one day. We got to give Phil his own segment because he has a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
A lot.
A lot?
A lot. So now listen, let's talk about Space Ace Frehley, the man.
I brought you a gift. I was up at Ace's house, and I was playing bass on a song for his new solo record like a couple nights ago. And he's always has tons of these guitar picks thrown all over his apartment. Well, he's not apartment, his studio. He has his studio in his house, and his guest house that he converted. And these are his guitar picks from the farewell tour, and this was from the Albany show. Each pick has a city from where that was.
Thank you very much.
So I snagged it for you.
I'm a big Kiss collector. I actually been listening to Kiss for 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 30 years. Kiss Alive 2 tour I saw when I was a kid. But, I mean, how'd you wind up with the legend?
Well, we had a mutual friend in this guy who was very, very amazing friend of mine. And his name was Frankie Gibson, and he passed on very recently. And he was sober, and I'm sober, and Ace sober. And he just came to me and he goes, you need to meet Ace, and Ace needs to meet you. So for about 3 months, Ace and I were trading phone calls. And I finally got up to his house, and we played, and the whole thing started to come together from there. And then he had said that while he was on tour for the reunion tour, he had all these like digital handheld recorders in hotel rooms. He'd come up with licks and stuff. And we sort of sifted through all that, and Ace got the songs that he wanted to put on his new record. And then we brought Anton in, and we just started playing them all in the room.
Anton Fig?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we started just playing them all in the room, and the record started to take shape, and it's still taking shape.
Well, you know what? Listen.
2.5 years later.
I love Ace Frehley. I'm a big Kiss fan. But I mean, Ace, your new nickname, they're calling you on the street, Ace Axel Frehley. Come on. I want to see this album out. A lot of people want to see the album out. Anthony, when is this?
Chinese anomaly.
When is this album coming out?
I hope soon, because I want to go back on the road. He doesn't want to do any more dates until the record's out.
Get the record out. Show Gene and Paul who the backbone of that band was. Mike, come on, let's give it up. I mean, I love Gene and Paul too, but what's right is right, you know. Kiss is Kiss, Gene, Paul, Peter, and Ace.